into my live stream. I'm still going to be I'm going to be messing with this. Oh gosh. I need to clip on my microphone, okay? So I don't sound like I'm talking to you from a tunnel. You guys are awesome for putting up with me and my shenanigans. Now hopefully we can have a good live stream. How does that sound? You may not have read the description. If you didn't, that's okay. What I want to do is I want to cut into this pumpkin that I've got. It's not in the best shape. I probably should have cut into it a few days ago, but I forgot about it. So that's a true story. All right. In the meantime, while I'm waiting to cut into it, let me just get out my book of jokes. I'll tell a joke or two while we wait for a few people to get in here. Let's see. Just waiting for a few chats, people to let me know that they're here. All right, what did we do before? Did we do crooked politician? Okay, here we go with the first joke. And by the way, these are from Little Giant book. I'm sorry, the Little Giant Encyclopedia of One-Liners. It's an old book from, I want to say 1999, I should remember. Let's see. Well, it's, yeah, 1999 by Jean Perrette and Terry Perrette Martin. Sterling Publishing out of Toronto, Canada. Very good. Okay, here's a joke. Crooked politician. I know you guys are getting the most boring thing ever. Crooked politician. He's just the candidate to get our town moving. I know if he wins, I'm moving. That was by Milton Berle. You can look up Milton Berle. He was a very, what would I say about Milton Berle? Sarcastic. He had a sharp, biting humor. He could be just absolutely brutal and cut you to the bone with his jokes. Another one by Milton Berle. Our town elected a new police chief. His first job was to arrest the old police chief. Oh gosh, okay. All right, here's one from Dayton Allen. The only way to combat criminals is by not voting for them. Okay, in other words, politicians are criminals, so stop voting for them. He was a crooked politician. To open the Little League each season, instead of throwing out the first ball, he would steal the first base and he'd kept it, or he'd keep it. Okay, that one is not attributed to anybody. Nobody in chat. I'm trying to see if there are anybody in here. 2 people are watching. Hi guys, just waiting for a few more people to show up before I start cutting into that pumpkin. This politician had his hand out so often his palm was sunburned. I like that one. None of these are attributed that I'm reading right now. Our town had the most crooked mayor in history. Even the sign in City Hall that directed you to the mayor's office said, go down this corridor and under the table. Yes, the mayor was so crooked he had his office under a table. He wanted to be near his money. If you don't know what that means, getting money from under the table is actually, it just means you're getting paid illegally. Our mayor took all kinds of bribes. When he raised his right hand to take the oath of office, somebody put money in it. There you go. He lived off graft. He was the only mayor I ever saw whose office had an opening in the door for night deposits. Oh my gosh. His campaign slogan was, it's your money. Why give it to a stranger? Okay, there we go. In his office at City Hall, he had the first dollar he ever made framed and hanging on the wall. Along with the brown paper bag it came in. And that's reference to the way people used to be bribed. Now I think a lot of bribes are happening, unfortunately, very easy to trace electronically. People don't tend to put money in to put cash in brown paper bags like maybe they used to. But you always knew where to find the mayor. He was always either in his office or in somebody else's pocket. Oh my gosh, what a terrible mayor. He would be away from his office for long stretches of time, too. Sometimes 3 to 5 years. Oh my gosh, I like that. Okay, well, guys, I guess I'll go to town gossip. Gossip is when you hear something you like about someone you don't. That was a quote from Earl Wilson. Alice Roosevelt Longworth said, "If you can't say something good about someone, sit right here by me." Oh my goodness. In other words, tell me all the bad stuff. "What a talker he is," Mark Twain said. "He could persuade a fish to come out and take a walk with him." Okay. Milton Berle, again with that biting humor that could cut you to the bone. "My wife says she doesn't like to repeat gossip, but she says, what else is there to do with it?" Hmm. Milton Berle again. "You can't believe everything you hear, but it's fun to repeat it anyway." Oh gosh, you guys, these jokes, these are bad jokes. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to keep up with this joke book right now. I think I'm going to just start cutting into this pumpkin. I honestly don't know if anybody can even hear me. There's one person watching. Can you hear me? Because I don't want to waste my time on something that's not being heard. Okay, this pumpkin came to me when, hello, remember? Somebody threw this pumpkin. Sorry, I have to cough. Someone threw this pumpkin on our ranch property and it was down there for a little while and I picked it up. Now, it did have a small mark on the bottom that has since rotted. And I just realized there's a soft spot on the top as well. So this thing is possibly rotted all the way through. I was really hoping I could get to the seeds inside of it today and roast them, salt them, and eat them, but I don't know if they're going to be edible. So here we go, heading into it. Ooh, that was too easy. Here I thought it was going to be difficult, but rotten pumpkins are not difficult to carve into. Oh man, I was really hoping for some good seeds, you guys. Oh, this disappoints me. This makes me sad. There's a short video that I posted this morning. You can go into my shorts feed and you'll see it there. And it shows a part of the property where people dump a lot of things. And so my husband put up a temporary fence a couple of days ago. Okay, these seeds are viable. They'll be good. I just need to rinse them. I'll soak them in a salty brine and then I will enjoy them after I roast them in the oven for a while. I wish I had a trash here. I need a trash. I'm good, thank you, remember. Thanks for asking. I'm good. I'm better now that I know all my pumpkin seeds aren't rotten. I was going to be really sad about that. I was thinking that some of this pumpkin could be roasted and eaten or steamed, but I am not going to be eating it, and I'm not going to feed it to my goats either because it just doesn't look good, or my dogs. The dogs sometimes like to eat cooked pumpkin, but I won't be giving it to them either. It just doesn't look, it's not good. It's got some issues, but the seeds look great. If there are any that look sketchy, I just won't use them, but so far it looks great. Of course, it's not easy to cut into. I don't know if any of you have ever roasted pumpkin seeds. They are so easy to roast. How about you, remember? How are you today? They're very easy. I don't remember when I started roasting them, but I remember the first time I did it, I oversalted them and they were just way too salty. So what I do now is I put them in a salty brine for a few hours. I don't do it for very long. And then I rinse them off and put them in a pan and I sprinkle just a tiny bit of salt on them. And I don't use a special salt. I use iodized salt because my pink salt is too big. The salt grains are just too big. I like my iodized salt. It gives me the iodine my body needs, and it's in small enough crystals that it's not, doesn't make them too terribly salty if I just put a little bit on. The pink salt I save for other things besides my pumpkin seed snacks or people watching. Hi, you guys. So if you haven't ever roasted pumpkin seeds, if you still have a pumpkin that's decent, I mean, this one is rotten. I don't know if you can tell that that's brown right there and it's smushy. The pumpkin meat is bad. I was hoping to be able to eat it, but I let it go probably 3 days too long. I should have cut into it the day I got it, but I think we were heading out of town. No, we weren't. That's not an excuse. Someone had dumped a whole bunch of pumpkins on the ranch property, and only one of them was viable. So I brought it home. The other ones are still rotting on the side of the road where the people, well, not side of the road, but on our property over a hill and down from the side of the road. People tend to park on this little turnout area and they just drag their trash out of their trucks and off their trailers and put it there on our property. And then when we call the city to come take it, sometimes they take, weeks to come and get it. And I'm talking big screen TVs that are just shattered. So there's broken glass all over the ground where chaos likes to play, and broken appliances. We've gotten tarps and blankets and let's see. Well, we got one good thing recently was one of those magnets that's on wheels. We already had one, but now we have two. It wasn't in perfect shape. I need to figure out how to attach one of the wheels more securely. It's very loose. But if you have too much bad trash, and when I get a hold of the city or my husband gets a hold of them, they just, they drag their feet. They don't want to send somebody over, and it's not a big deal to send somebody. They've got people nearby. It just gets moved to the bottom of their list. Right now, there's a huge bumper from a car. My husband just dragged it over a little ways so it's on city property instead of being on our property because it's their trash. It's not ours. We aren't responsible for what people do on our property. There's a wheel down the hill right now with a tire on it that they need to come and get. I don't think I have the strength. I'm sorry, guys, my asthma. I just use my inhaler. I've been drinking plenty. I've got lots of hydration going on, but for some reason, my lungs are really irritated. I also took allergy pills this morning to help them not be so irritated. I do cough. I apologize. It's not a smoker's cough, and I'm not choking on food. I just have really bad asthma, which is a real pain sometimes. Makes it a little bit embarrassing trying to do a live feed. Okay, let me move the camera a little bit closer. Sorry for the jiggle, not good. There we go. That's not too bad. Oh gosh, my my tripod is really top heavy right now because of my phone. Oh gosh. All right, here we go. Just take out the seeds, rinse them real well. Obviously, this one has some issues with some of the rot that's in it, just the meat. So I definitely want to wash these really well. I'll wash them in hot water and soak them in hot brine and then rinse them again really well with hot water. Put them in this pan. Actually, I'll use this pan right here and roast them in the oven. Oh, that one hit the floor. One of the hit my foot. They're so sticky. The dog will eat that, I think. Oh, maybe not. He didn't even know it hit him. Oh yeah, he does. He's thinking it's popcorn though, because I throw popcorn at them when I'm eating popcorn. Oh gosh, this has really good seeds in it, you guys. I may actually save some of these to germinate. because you can never have too many pumpkin plants, right? That's a joke. My husband thinks I have way too many seeds for germinating, and I probably do. But I may I'll rinse them off real well. I probably won't rinse those in hot water, but I'll rinse them off real well, let them dry completely. Then I put them in a paper envelope and I write what they are on the outside of the envelope. It's an orange pumpkin. I have no idea if it is a good pumpkin for eating. I'll just grow pumpkins next year for the fun of it because I'm a weirdo that way. I love growing things. My dad, gosh, one of his first real jobs as well, he had a paper route back in the day. Boys generally, sometimes girls had paper routes. And he was real good at it, saved up a lot of money. And he, at some point as a teenager, started doing yard work for people, which is a really good business. If you don't know what to do, if you don't want to go to college, but you want to do something that pays the bills, become good at yard work. Now, you may want to take some classes at a local community college, or if there's anything online, you might want to take some classes just for the business side of things, but also some horticulture classes. And you might find some of those classes available as adult education. While you're in school, in high school, you can join the FFA and learn about plants through the ag department at your school if you have one. Not all schools have an ag department, I get that. But maybe you can find resources online, learn about pruning shrubs, because a lot of people that do yard work for people don't know how to effectively prune shrubs the right way. And growing up under my dad's tutelage, I learned about things like how important it is to prune trees and shrubs the right way. You don't want to do the wrong thing to them, it can be very damaging. Learn about certainly biosecurity, I guess you call it. I don't know. Not spreading disease from one house to another by not cleaning your tools. You want to learn about things like that. You don't want to take a disease and spread it around to 20 different properties if you can avoid it. And learn about the different plants that work well in different areas. Look at the lifespan of plants. Some plants are only meant to live about 20 years. By the time people by the time those plants get up toward 20 years, people are super emotionally attached to them and they don't want to get rid of them. But the plants are just slowly dying because they've lived out their life. So learn about things like that so you can educate the people that you're working with if you're doing their yard work for them. My dad learned a lot. He and his brother, his younger brother, had the landscaping business. Mowing lawns was probably where they started as little boys, I'm guessing. And then they moved into other things. I know my dad taught me how to edge a lawn. That was back in the day when it was just a human powered tool. Now we've got all kinds of battery powered and gas powered and electric with cords, all kinds of ways to edge lawns. And then my dad and his brother, with a partner, bought a nursery when I was a little girl. And I grew up running around the aisles of that nursery and I loved it. And dad would he also had a landscape company by then. So he had the nursery and the landscape company. And sometimes he would take me and my brother with him to work. Now, I don't know how many times he did that. I'm just guessing it was on the days when my mom was just really tired and she ran a daycare. So it's possible maybe during some of our school breaks, he took us to work with him. I don't know. I just know that I remember learning how to dig trenches and install irrigation. I don't remember working with like metal pipes, but he taught me how to put PVC pipe together and, working with the glue, that blue glue. And then, oh, what else did he teach me? How to dig holes to plant plants. Back then, The belief was you wanted to go real deep, but now there's different science. People have learned that a lot of plants don't send down a taproot, but if they do, they can do that on their own. What they really want is good soil around them. So now you want to dig, you can dig a more shallow hole, but you want it to be nice and wide to help those small roots that want to go horizontally find good soil to move into and support the plant with the nutrients that they pull out of that soil. So Dad taught me how to dig holes to plant plants, how to break up the root balls, all kinds of things. And Mom sometimes had a garden, like a she had roses. I know that at one of the houses we lived at. She liked her roses. But at an apartment we lived in for a little while, we had a huge vegetable garden. It was giant. I just remember that garden. It was like a jungle. It was so amazing. I don't remember how many years. I think we were only in that apartment for 2 years. We were waiting for our house to be completed. And gosh, these are so sticky. Can you tell by my hand how sticky these are? Ugh. And I learned somehow about gardening. And that's probably my first experience with actual vegetable gardening was probably when I was about 10, 11 years old when we lived in that apartment. And then we moved to a house that really didn't have room for a garden. So there was a small garden out front for a few years, but it was very basic. I think it was pretty much just tomatoes. And I'm trying to think where I started gardening. Maybe when my first husband and I had our condo. I know he built planters in the backyard, and I know I planted in them. So I might have planted fruits and vegetables in those planters. I don't remember. But then we got a third of an acre, and I started gardening. Now, I've never grown pumpkins. This will be my first time growing pumpkins. I've got a couple of pumpkins in the windowsill right now. I just wanted to make sure some of my seeds that I dug out of a green pumpkin were viable. And I put them in a cup and they were all viable. And out of the three, two survived and are now planted in soil. Here we are in December, the beginning of December. I've already got two pumpkin plants growing in my house. I don't know how wise it is, you guys. I'm not sure. We'll see how they do. I have a greenhouse out back that's still in a box, needs to be taken out of the box and assembled. I don't know if it's going to happen this winter because it's going to be really cold from now on. I mean, Dave was just telling me the weather this morning that's coming, and we're talking high in the 20s one day, high in the low 30s another day, and it doesn't get warmer. Although, no, it is going to heat up to 43, which to me is nice. I like 43. I can do chores outside when it's 43. My body has acclimated. I do need to heat up my hands as I'm doing it, and I have to wear really warm socks and good boots or shoes that don't allow the cold air to get in. But if I can keep my core warm, I can hang out outside in 43 weather as long as I'm moving, as long as I'm cleaning out stalls or cleaning out coops, which I do need to clean out one of my one of the goat stalls, the little barn that they've been staying in at night lately. I need to clean that out. It's got some hay in it that needs to come out, and that'll go directly into one of the duck coops, and they'll enjoy picking through it for a couple of days. Almost done. This is probably one of the most boring lives anybody has ever watched. I apologize again for my asthma, you guys. I wish I could make it stop. Okay, I think I'm done. And like I said before, I'm not going to be eating this pumpkin. It's going in the trash. I apologize. I can't control my asthma, you guys, and neither can the doctors apparently. All right, so here's my sticky seeds. Got to go get those into the sink and wash them real good in hot water. Except I'm going to keep about, how many should I keep? I'm thinking I should keep probably about 20 to plant, but then I can't give away a whole bunch. Maybe I'll keep about 40 to give away and plant. Because I like to propagate things and then give away the plants to people so they can grow their own, but they don't have to pay a ton of money at a nursery. I don't I don't think plants should cost as much as they cost. Because look at that, you guys. Look at all that. If I were to germinate all of those seeds, I would have a couple hundred plants at zero cost. Although, labor, the containers you put it in, and the soil that you put in there. So, potting soil, maybe $10 worth of potting soil for a couple hundred, which even potting soil is too expensive right now. But honestly, why do seeds cost so much, you guys? I bought 10 zucchino rampicante seeds about 3 years ago, and they were almost $4 for the 10 seeds. Now, out of those 10 seeds, I ended up with squash that give me thousands of seeds every year. So I'm still growing zucchino rampicante a couple years later, and I will be growing them next year as well. But why do they cost so much, you guys? Crazy. So this is just an orange pumpkin. This was a free orange pumpkin that somebody threw out on our property just because they didn't want to put it in their trash, I guess, which I'm glad they did it because I'm using it, but that's kind of low class to dump your trash on someone else's property. But I will definitely be planting these. I say that every year, and then sometimes I just don't have the energy to do it. But I'm hoping to get a bunch of pumpkins planted, germinated, thriving. And I really don't need very many pumpkins for myself personally. And our goats don't eat them. The dogs would eat them if I cooked it. I could put it in the dog bowl and they would eat them. They love pumpkin if it's cooked. Well, maybe I'll cook it up for my dogs. But really, what do I need? Like 4 pumpkins? That's kind of all I need. Hey, there are 4 people in here. You guys, how about some thumbs up and some conversation in the chat? I would love it. Remember has been chatting a bit, but I think Remember had to leave. All right, let's look at my sleeping dog. This is what a Catahoula looks like in his natural habitat. Can I get it to go? Oh gosh, you guys, I am not the best with this technology. There he is, Mr. Chaos, who is not so chaotic, actually. He could be a lot worse. I don't think they named him right when they named him Chaos because he's pretty good. He's pretty mellow. Unless he's got a rock or a stick at the ranch that he's just in love with. Then he's a little chaotic, but most of the time he's not chaotic at all. All right, you two that are here, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to cut this off because I've got to go rinse these in the sink in hot water, except for the 20 that I keep out to plant 40. I'll keep out 40. And then I'm going to roast them, and I'm going to be eating pumpkin seeds later today that are going to be very delicious. So you guys have a blessed day. You can go ahead and check out my channel. I have a lot of short videos with a lot of homesteading information in them. I also do some gardening and a little bit of cooking. I tell stories about my childhood and about situations in my life. You're welcome to go look at those. Subscribe if you want stuff that's more exciting than this, because most of my videos are more exciting than this. Go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell if you want to get regular updates whenever I'm going live or whenever I post a video. And I will see you guys in the next video.